Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 20th, and Steph is back today after a nice long weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty nice. The weather worked out. A little cold, but got better. Yeah.
Tell you what, mid to late February in South Texas, if it keeps like this, why would we move anywhere else?
I agree. There's nothing to complain about other than, we could mix in a little bit of rain here and there. That would be nice, but nothing in the forecast right now. In fact, we've got full sun out there. There was some fog earlier that has since dissipated, at least here around San Antonio. There are still some spots that may be looking at some slightly lower visibility, but nothing big. Let me show you the temperatures right now. 56 here in San Antonio, 54 New Braunfels, 50 in Seguin. Still a little bit of fog there, but visibilities are improving rapidly. There's a look at the map. Gonzales still down a little bit. There could be some fog off to our north and east. But generally speaking, it's moving out. So 58 degrees at 10 o'clock, 11 a.m., 64, 69 noontime. I will tell you, today will be about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. I mean, this is pretty much short sleeve weather here. 77 for high this afternoon. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. By the way, it gets even warmer. We've got some 80s in the forecast by Thursday before a front moves through and cools us down a little bit for the weekend. We're going to look at that. Plus, we'll have a look at some lake levels for you and a look back at how much rain we've seen. That's coming up in just a few minutes. But let's get over to RJ now. I know you have been a busy man this morning.
Yeah, it's been a very, very busy hour and a half or so as a lot of people head back to work after that President's Day holiday. So let's take a look at TransGuide and give you a rundown of what's going on here. Loop 410 southbound at FM 78 in the Kirby area. Still have a crash that was reported there a little bit earlier. We have this vehicle that's off to the shoulder on the right-hand side, and there were some emergency crews out there, so hopefully these folks stay safe there as people make their way out in that area right now. We'll look at the maps here in just a bit, but take a look at our citywide map. You see several incidents across the San Antonio sort of metropolitan area. This one right here, Loop 410 near the airport, that is actually cleared out, so our maps are still showing that we still have a crash there. That one's cleared out. We are clear, but US 90 right now is a bit of a mess, to say the least, here on the west side. So we have a couple stalled vehicles westbound here, General Hudnall, Couples Road. Those are two vehicles that are stalled out in that area, and a crash being reported US 90 eastbound at Callahan Road. That's going to be in the opposite direction for our traffic coming in inbound. Let's take you to the northeast side now, because we've been following this one here for a while. I-35 southbound at O'Connor Road, traffic backed up past Topperwine all the way up to the Forum right now, southbound 35. Let's take you a little bit south of that. Again, this was the Kirby accident that we were talking about. Loop 410 southbound at FM 78. We do have traffic starting to move through that area right there we saw from that TransGuide shot, but again, something that our drivers in that area are going to have to contend with here for a little bit. And then just for good measure, we have a stalled vehicle being reported I-37 northbound at I-10. This is a little bit southeast of downtown, a little bit south of the Alamo Dome area. So things very busy out there. Again, a lot of people headed back to work this morning after the holiday. So hopefully you guys stay safe out there and just make sure to, give emergency crews and TxDOT crews enough room to work on all these accidents. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
RJ, thank you so much.
Here's today's Note at 9.
Early voting begins today for the Texas primary election. You can find sample ballots on our website, KSAT.com, as well as information about mail-in ballots and what to bring with you to vote. Early voting ends on March 1st. Election Day is March 5th.
Russian troops have launched a new round of attacks across multiple fronts after capturing a key city in eastern Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky says Russia is taking advantage of the delays in more aid and artillery to his country. The crucial aid from the U.S. is held up in the Republican-led House. The fall at Avdiivka is the clearest sign yet that the tide of the war is turning in Russia's favor.
The FBI and its international allies have seized a dark web site that has troubled organizations all over the world with ransomware attacks. The ransomware gang known as Lockbit has claimed responsibility for several attacks using the dark web to extort its victims. Some of the attacks have happened in New Jersey, Georgia, and in China.
Major downpours in California. Flood alerts are in effect for nearly the entire state, and forecasters say millions of people there will see excessive rain through today. The heavy rain comes from an atmospheric river-fueled storm that stalled off the west coast, and officials say that could cause a lot of damage in a short amount of time.
Capital One Bank is striking a deal worth over $35 billion to buy credit card issuer Discover. The bank is hoping to close the deal later this year or early next year. It's expected to come under intense antitrust spotlight from federal officials. The deal would combine two of the largest credit card companies in the U.S. and would be one of the biggest mergers this year.
Coming off the President's Day holiday, stock markets are getting back to trading this morning. Investors are looking ahead to some big earnings reports this week. Computer chip giant NVIDIA, Walmart, and Home Depot are all set to report over the next few days, and minutes from the Federal Reserve's January meeting are due out tomorrow.
The White House is investing more money in companies looking to build computer chips in the U.S. Global Foundries is getting $1.5 billion to expand operations in New York State and Vermont.
European regulators are now investigating TikTok over what they're calling the app's addictive design. The issue is whether it breaks a new European law aimed at protecting children. Last year, the EU fined TikTok around $370 million for failing to properly guard personal information of kids.
The peak of the flu season may be over, but virus levels still remain high across the country. Earlier this month, flu hospitalization rates were about half of what they were during the season's peak at the end of December. And the CDC says COVID-19 hospitalization rates were a third lower. Still, new data shows doctor visits for respiratory illnesses have been above baseline since November. And that's today's 9 at 9. In your morning headlines, a big fight breaks out after a college basketball game involving a local college and a major ruling in Alabama with fertility implications.
Plus concerns about measles in the U.S. David Sears is here with our morning headlines.
Yeah, coming off of COVID, this is kind of scary. Yeah. We'll have that for you in just a second. Let's start with this. It is video that has gone viral. That is a post-game brawl, mostly between the Incarnate Word Cardinal players and players from Texas A&M Commerce. The fight broke out while the players were going through the handshake line after the A&M Converse just defeated IWU 76-72. You can see the players throwing punches. The melee spilled out onto the court, and more players and coaches and trainers got in on the act, some continuing the fight, others trying to break it up. There were several skirmishes around the court. You can even hear the announcer say that a young girl got hit and an employee had blood on his face. No word yet on the injuries or how many, if any, other players and staff or fans were hit. The investigation is underway. We have statements from the schools and the conference. Here's the UIW Athletics and A&M Commerce released the following statement. UIW and Texas A&M University Commerce apologized for the behavior exhibited by our respective men's basketball programs following the game on Monday night. The unsportsmanlike conduct that occurred after the game does not reflect the values of the universities involved, as well as the Southland Conference and their member institutions. The matter is currently being reviewed collectively by the conference office and both institutions, as the safety of our student athletes, staff, and fans is out of primary concern. The Southland Conference also released a statement. The Southland Conference is aware of the end-of-game situation that occurred between the Texas A&M University Commerce and the University of Incarnate Word men's basketball teams. We will work closely with both universities to review the footage and issue appropriate disciplinary action. Unsportsmanlike behavior is unacceptable in the Southland Conference, and the safety of our student athletes, coaches, spectators, and officials remains our top priority. A ruling from the state of Alabama Supreme Court with fertility implications. The court has ruled that frozen embryos are children. The ruling reverses a lower court ruling. A couple sued a fertility clinic in Mobile, Alabama for wrongful death. Someone in the clinic dropped their frozen embryos on the floor, and those embryos were destroyed. One of the judges in the Supreme Court said that unborn children are children, as expected. A lot of controversy over the decision. The Alabama State Medical Association fears this could shut down fertility clinics. As if COVID-19 wasn't bad enough, and still is. Now this, doctors putting out the warning that the measles are back. The CDC tells us that deadly disease was eradicated in the U.S. at the start of the last century. However, the disease is making a comeback. There is a group of children in Florida that are infected with the measles, and the experts warn it could spread across the country. There are 5 students at a school in Fort Lauderdale infected. There have been 9 cases discovered in Philadelphia since last December. So far this year, at least 12 states have reported at least 1 case. According to some doctors, all you have to do is just be in the same room with an infected person and your kid could get it. Measles spread with an infected person coughs or sneezes. There is a vaccine that is required by the CDC for kids to get into school. Like before, there needs to be a high percentage of vaccinated to stop the spread.
We have to have very high, 95% or greater immunity within a population in order for this virus that's like a heat-seeking missile to not be able to find someone who's susceptible. This is, not a hair on fire moment yet, but it has the potential to become one.
All right, symptoms include fever, cough, runny nose, and a distinctive rash. Severe cases can lead to brain swelling, pneumonia, or even death. According to the Texas Health and Human Services website, there were 2 cases last year, both in non-school age children. According to the CDC, none so far this year. This may be as close to the Eclipse as you're going to get. Delta offering a flight from Austin to Detroit on Eclipse Day, April 8th. The Delta flight is 2018. The jet will be a A220-300. It has extra large windows. They have timed the flight for the best chance to safely see it in solar eclipse at its peak. I got on their website, and I'm no travel agent, and my travel agent career is pretty much come and gone because I got all confused. They had 1 seat left at $1,300. But then I got on there, and you have the little map of the plane, you can pick your seat. Well, then there were 4 or 5 seats there. Huh. So I don't know if I was getting refundable or non-refundable. I was a little confused. But so they got 1 or several. I don't know. No window seats, though.
I heard you at your desk. It looked like I thought you were booking a trip, but it was.
I was. I was looking at this thing. I said, I may want to fly.
Okay.
Check it out.
Gotcha.
So forget the flight.
Okay.
I'm just sticking with Justin and the weather team here taking care of me.
Yeah.
So I'll see enough of it.
Well,
$1,300 to fly. What are you going to do in Detroit overnight? Fly back?
I don't know either. It's probably coach, too.
Yes.
Thank you, David.
I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Right now, 9:09, 55 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
Well, David and RJ will be back to talk about the Spurs' first half of the season's performance and see what grades they give our team and what areas they think they can improve on.
Plus, David mentioned the eclipse is coming up in April, and after the break, Max Massey is going to tell us what some scientists are hoping to learn from this rare event.
This Best of Mutton Busted, powered by your San Antonio area Chevy dealers.
"48 days and counting till the total solar eclipse. For most of us, it'd be really cool to see, but for scientists, it's a rare opportunity to learn more about our sun.
Max Massey spoke with a scientist from Southwest Research Institute about what he hopes to learn from the event.
This is a cosmic phenomenon that is a unique thing to experience, and I think everyone should have that chance.
Dr. Amir Caspi is like so many of you out there, excited for April 8th solar eclipse.
I think something like 100 million people are in the path of totality or will be driving to the path of totality.
Dr. Caspi is helping coordinate 2 huge projects. The first involves community members from across the country.
Using 35 of these telescope stations run by community participants whom we give the equipment to and training to, and they are observing all the way along the eclipse path from Eagle Pass, Texas up to Holton, Maine to observe the eclipse in a bucket brigade as it passes over every one of those stations in turn.
And the second, 2 jets flying out of Houston.
Flying NASA's WB-57 jets at altitudes up to 50,000 feet to observe with nose-mounted telescopes.
The idea, finally able to learn more about the sun.
One of the long-standing questions of the solar corona is, why is it so hot? It's actually millions of degrees, and the solar surface is only a few thousand degrees.
The sun's corona is actually the outermost part of the sun's atmosphere. The corona is usually hidden by the bright light of the sun's surface.
And you can finally see that solar corona. You can see it with your eyes, you can see it with instruments.
Now, as preparations begin the final phase, the hope is just that all of the instruments cooperate accordingly. Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
Beautiful day yesterday, looking like more of the same today. 56 degrees at last check.
Yeah, it's turned into a really nice day. And as you just heard Max say, or you guys said, 48 days away. We're still counting down. We're very excited. There's going to be so much going on across South Texas. If you want to check out some of the events, we have them listed on our webpage. A lot of cities in the Hill Country are doing like musical events and all sorts of things.
Where will you be?
I'll be in Fredericksburg.
Okay, that's
Adam
right.
and I are going to be in Fredericksburg, but we're going to be, KSAT will have crews all around.
Gotcha.
So if you're not in the path, you'll be able to watch it with us, which is also exciting. Let's take a look at the countdown. 48 days away. Here is, I guess, the good news for the rest of the country. Everyone in the U.S. will see at least a partial eclipse. So there's that. But being in the path to totality is beyond incredible. So we're very lucky that here in San Antonio, at least parts of San Antonio, will be in the path of totality. And places in the hill country will spend up to about 4 minutes in totality. It will go dark in the middle of the day, depending on weather, of course. We're hoping for good weather for this, but it will be pretty awesome. That is April 8th at 1:30 p.m., and we'll have much more coverage coming up in the coming months. All right, let's look back now at February, where we stand temperature-wise. 2.3 degrees above average. This probably comes as no surprise to you. It has been sort of a warm stretch, and we're actually going to finish February, the way it's looking right now, on a pretty warm note. So I think we'll finish the month above average. Our warmest day was 75, our coolest 32. So February has been sort of warm and not as wet as January. We've picked up 0.87 inches of rain, which isn't horrible, but that's a little bit below average. And on top of being warm to finish out the month, I think we're going to finish it on a dry note too. We've moved into more of a stable pattern, whereas in January it was active, right? We had storm systems coming through just about every week. As you look at the big picture here, you can see where all the active weather is. It's out in California. They're getting rain, wind, snow, you name it. It's busy out there. There's a storm system that sits just off the west coast. Pretty big one, and there's rain from Seattle all the way down to San Diego, okay? So the west coast is really getting hit hard here. But that storm system and that energy, unlike the last several systems that worked south towards Texas, does not go in our direction. This time it moves north, and that's because we're starting to get a little bit of a heat high building down here in Mexico, and that's kind of directing everything up and over Texas and away from us and taking away any rain chance, really. And this is the kind of weather pattern we're going to see for the foreseeable future. So a lot of what develops out west is going to not move towards Texas. And again, that's not a good thing when it comes to needing rain. At least the weather's nice. 56 in San Antonio, 54 in New Braunfels, 50 in Seguin, 55 Bernie, 51 right now in Kerrville. It was a cold start, but we're warming up. And satellite picture shows, yeah, we did have some clouds and spots and fog. You can see some of the fog right there. I know it's hard to see, but there is a little bit of fog. Pleasanton, maybe just southeast of Hondo. There was a little bit of patchy fog off to our east, and it looks like a patch of clouds there from Eagle Pass over to Carrizo Springs. But in San Antonio, we're looking at clear skies. 56 right now, 58 Kennedy, and 55 Bernie Stage, 46 the cool spot right now in Comfort. Our forecast today, 69 noontime. We'll be up around 77 by 4 o'clock, a warm day, about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. And then a nice evening. We'll slip into the 60s by 8 o'clock with clear skies. Now, fog does make a return tomorrow and 6 around longer. So 76 on your Wednesday, fog and clouds for the first half of the day, then clearing out some. Thursday is our warmest day, 84, quote-unquote, front comes through, but doesn't do much for us. Mid-70s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
But nice. Overall.
But nice. This is good rodeo weather. The folks at the rodeo are probably excited because we've had some bad years with rodeo weather. This is good stuff.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for those of you in the Northwest Bexar County, Bernie area, wondering when the new H-E-B near Fair Oaks Ranch is going to open, we have an answer.
H-E-B says it will open the store on March 6th, 2 weeks from tomorrow. Customers can start ordering online for curbside pickup or home delivery beginning March 4th. You can read more about the story on KSAT.com. The Fair Oaks H-E-B is located off of I-10 northwest of Dietz Elkhorn Road.
920, 57 degrees.
Well, Bexar County has a high rate of diabetes, and unfortunately, doctors are saying they're seeing more patients losing limbs because of complications from the disease. However, it doesn't have to be that way. When we come back, our Stefania Jimenez introduces us to a man who saved his foot after he came very close to losing it.
Just about 9:24, losing your leg or a foot is a very scary thought, but doctors say that they're having to amputate and remove limbs on more people here in Bexar County because of complications with diabetes.
As Stefania Jimenez reports, they want you to know that by making simple changes, you can save your limbs.
Walking is something many of us take for granted, but for 57-year-old Carlos Aguilar, moving both of his legs is a blessing.
Yo estoy muy agradecido a Dios primeramente y al doctor.
Carlos is grateful because a year and a half ago, he developed an abscess on his toe, which kept growing. That was dangerous because Carlos has diabetes. At the time, doctors told him they would amputate part of his foot.
Traté de enseñarle a mis hijos que no.
But then something happened. He went to Dr. Michael Sobolewski, a podiatry specialist at the Texas Diabetes Institute. And after several medical procedures,
I washed it out, took him to surgery time and time again to get him to get to this point.
Carlos also changed his diet and medication. His foot healed in 3 months.
Ahora me cuido más que nada. Me dijo el doctor, ni en tu casa te quiero descalzo. Ando en calcetines.
Carlos is still active, controlling his diet and losing weight. Now he's focused on enjoying his future and spending time with his kids and grandkids. It's the outcome Dr. Sobolewski wants, but also knows not everyone gets, especially in Bexar County. According to the San Antonio Metropolitan Health District, more than 13% of people here have diabetes, 1% higher than the state rate.
I do think it's a crisis. I don't want to be amputating. My colleagues don't want to be amputating. These are things that can be avoided.
And the first step, Dr. Sobolewski says, is to make sure you see a doctor if you develop a wound that won't heal.
If you come in, soon enough, amputation does not have to be the option. It is preventable with good care.
Just take it from Carlos. He wants everyone to listen to their doctors and not risk their health.
Y me siento muy bien.
Me alegro.
Me siento muy bien.
That was Stefania Jimenez reporting. Now, she had a long conversation with Dr. Sobolewski about diabetes and preventing amputations, and you only saw a portion of that.
So you could watch the whole conversation on our website at KSAT.com, and tonight on the Night Beat, you can learn about a local program that's using cars to teach men with diabetes how to take better care of themselves.
Now it's 9:26, 57 degrees. There's more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Including how the pandemic has affected social skills for young kids, and what parents can do to help them overcome their struggles.
And it hasn't been the greatest season for the San Antonio Spurs, but there's a lot of potential. When we come back, David and RJ are giving their grade of the Spurs so far this season, a report card, if you will.
Let's look out there with a live cam. We've already kind of warmed up to the 50s, and it's looking pretty out there. And by this afternoon, we won't need a jacket.
Not at all. In fact, we could be up into the upper 70s later today, Steph. So this is your kind of weather. It's also good growing weather. I want to show you a picture here on KSAT Connect. Folks are already starting to take out some of those plants. So it's almost time to plant the garden. That's cucumbers and zucchini and tomatoes there. Didn't know that. But yes, it is about that time. We talked a little yesterday about when is that last freeze. The average last freeze is February 24th here in San Antonio. Doesn't mean we won't see one in March or even early April, but our odds are starting to come down that we'll see another one. So yes, it is almost planting season. Pollen count just came in. Molds are low, ash is low, mulberry is low. Ash did come up a little bit today, so the tree pollen's trying to rise some, but nothing too bad in the count today. So there's a look at the numbers this afternoon. I think there will be some 80s on the map. So if you're watching us from Carrizo Springs or Pearsall, downright warm this afternoon. Here in San Antonio, we're looking for 77. It gets even warmer than this. We'll look at the 7-day forecast and look at the extended forecast to see if there's any rain out there coming our way. That's in just a few minutes, guys.
Got a traffic update for everyone, Justin. Right now, let's take a live look out there. This is 410 FM 78. There was a stalled vehicle out there, southbound 410 FM 78 with one lane blocked. Now getting a report of a minor accident in that same exact area. No other details. And we have a major accident now working southbound 281 at Tacoma, right there by San Antonio International Airport.
Well, it can happen in an instant. A new report from a national nonprofit shows that over 100 kids are hit by a car every week across the country. KSAT 12 producer Haley Powers explains how quickly it could happen and what you can do to protect your children.
It doesn't matter where you are. You have to always assume that children can be around.
They're little, they're short, they move quickly, cars are big, they go fast.
Most parents don't think it can happen to them. 1 second, they're walking through a parking lot, and the next, their kid is in front of a moving vehicle.
Toddlers literally cannot understand danger. They don't have the cognitive ability, and they don't understand that a parked vehicle might start moving.
National nonprofit Kids and Car Safety focuses on keeping children safe in and out of the car. Director Amber Rollins says kids being in the blind zone of the car makes it easier for them to be missed by the driver's eyes. The blind zone are areas in the front, back, and sides of the car where a person can be standing and not be seen. The back blind zone can be up to 50 feet and the front 15. A chair was put in front of my car and I cannot see the chair from this angle. So I didn't see that chair. If that chair was a child, that child would be hit. Unfortunately, these types of accidents happen more than you think.
Every week in our country, at least 110 children are run over by vehicles in parking lots and driveways.
That's unacceptable. There's absolutely no reason. There's no reason for that to happen. Everybody needs to slow down and take a deep breath and look around and pay attention.
Adults paying attention to their surroundings will help lower that number, but even young kids need to be aware as well.
Knowing to stop and look, knowing to stay close to me, especially with multiple little ones, it's impossible to have eyes and hands on everybody at the same time.
Anytime they let go of our hand, we're like, okay, you got to be up or be in the stroller. Like, this is a privilege.
Rollins recommends carrying your kids or keeping them in a stroller or cart until you get to the car and are safe. This goes for everyone. You need to be focused on the road, not distracted, and slow down, even if you're running 5 minutes late.
You can't undo hitting a child. You can't undo causing an accident, and the guilt that you have and the family whose life that you would have devastated if that happened. 5 minutes doesn't matter.
Looking ahead, Kids and Car Safety is calling for a 360 camera system to be put in all new vehicles so no more children are hit by cars. Haley Powers, KSAT 12 News.
On other news, the COVID-19 pandemic made socializing difficult, especially for children. Now, a few years later, speech pathologists say it explains why kids are having communication delays and teens are more anxious in social settings. Our Patty Santos talked with a local expert who says limiting screen time can do a bit to help.
Look at Miss Kelly. Did mommy pick you up from school?
No, it was the bus.
It was the bus.
Just so I could pick me up in the morning.
Oh, perfect.
Pathologists at Speech and Language Center Stone Oak have noticed an increase in kids under 12 with language disorders.
Look, I want you to watch me.
Kids struggling to focus and socialize.
In the middle school range, we're seeing more of an increase of fear to interact with others, fear of going out and seeing other people and being in social situations.
Clinical Director Madeline Paul says the clinic's referrals doubled from February 2020 to February 2022. But researchers were already noticing a trend.
With a generation for kids who are spending a lot of time on screens and tablets, those were coming into popularity already before the pandemic.
Casey Telenisich Klinger, Associate Professor at Our Lady of the Lake University, says the list of families waiting for help is growing.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough clinicians to go around.
Speech pathologists are in high demand, and sometimes families have to wait 6 months or more for an initial consultation.
We don't have enough, so many places in San Antonio are on a wait list for services. And it's dependent on several issues. It's dependent on geographic area and location. Sometimes it's a lot more difficult to get a speech pathologist out to a more rural area or location.
She adds insurance coverage and costs can hold some families back.
She needs to say, oh my gosh, this dog ate this.
That's right. She needs to tell him, get down, Buster.
Paul says constant face-to-face interactions, role-playing, and social exposure can boost a child's growth.
We say it's their job as a child is to play.
Patty Santos.
You say thank you.
KSAT 12 News.
Well, our San Antonio Spurs will return to action this Thursday night after the All-Star break.
But before we see them back on the court, we wanted to see if they are making the grade. David and RJ are back with their post-All-Star weekend report cards. Okay.
Ooh. We are about to grade the San Antonio Spurs after, it's not the first half of the season, right, David? It's just the All-Star. I know. We still
the All-Star game comes later and later every year.
All right. So we're going to show my grades first. David and I, we kind of went back and forth on some of these.
Look at you.
Right. I got Wemby as an A. That's an automatic. automatic
Okay,
for me.
well,
A
yeah.
for automatic. Devin Vassell has been a bit of a disappointment for me. I thought he was going to take a step up. I thought he was going to be the Robin to Wemby's Batman. He has not done that yet. Jeremy Sohan, I think, is kind of a little bit of an incomplete because he was put in a tough position. I just don't think he has done well. Keldon Johnson, to me, has been one of the biggest disappointments. D for disappointment, David. Keldon Johnson. Trey Jones, B+, once he got inserted in the starting lineup. He has done well. Zach Collins, not doing well. C.D. Chetty Osman, okay. Branham and Wesley have not given them what I thought they had hoped for. And then Coach Pop, David.
Whoa.
I got to give him a D because of the Jeremy Sohan experiment that completely backfired on this team.
We could be in line on that one. All right, so here we go. I give Wemby an A- because he started the season out slow.
Minus?
And I gave Vassell a B- because he was the guy that was always the best on the floor for a long time, so I couldn't downgrade him. Right. So I gave him a B-. Sohan, up, down, he's all over the place, so he gets a C-. Keldon, I'm sorry, Keldon, but you're going to have to work a little harder to get a passing grade. All right, you got to quit taking those bad shots and turning the ball over at the end of the game. Trey Jones, B+, he comes in and he knows how to find Wemby. So if those two keep working together, Trey could actually go up to A, and Wemby could get an A+ out of this deal if those two keep working. Zach Collins, C-. I couldn't give him a D, so I gave
You give him an extra minus?
He's hanging on the edge.
Well, thank you
Come
for
on,
that,
Zach.
David.
Hanging on the edge. Chetty Osman, B-, Random D, Wesley D+, and Coach Pop because of the same thing, because of the Sohan experiment that failed. He gets a D.
Would that be D for Dynamite?
No, that's not at all.
I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Were either one of you reluctant to hand out an F because we're only midway through the season?
I was a little reluctant just because I feel like, you know what, this they've sort of shifted from this being sort of a Devin Vassell sort of led team to being now a full-on Victor Wembanyama led team. So I think you have to give him a little bit of a curve there. But, I was on the line there, Mark, with a couple of guys, Keldon especially, and also I got to say Coach Pop, he's the GOAT, but that was a move there early in this season that I think completely obviously backfired, and it really kind of set him back for their development.
Here's why I didn't give him an F, because at least they're trying. They're out there giving. I haven't seen them really give up on a game yet. They can be getting blown out by 25, but at least in the fourth quarter they come back and they cut it to 10. So that's worth something. That's passing right there, except for Keldon. That's passing, but Keldon can get that grade. He's got time to get that grade up. We'll have a little teacher-parent conference, and we can work on that.
Extra credit.
Extra credit. Maybe so.
But that's why they didn't get an F, because these guys are at least they're giving effort.
Session.
They got a long way to go, but the effort is there.
All right, two things. One, Keldon Johnson's in the lobby, and he wants to speak to both of you.
Okay.
And two, I'm surprised that one of you didn't give Coach Pop an F.
Okay, were you close, David?
Ooh, yeah, but it's Coach Pop, so
You want to stay in his good graces.
I can hear him yelling at me now.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to get yelled at. So.
Benefit of the doubt that hopefully these guys are heading the right direction. Like you said, David, I think that the effort is there, but it appears right now is that this has not really been a good mix, and so we're still trying to figure things out here. But they have a brutal schedule coming
They got 27 games left, right? Something like that. So yeah, this is actually brutal. So, what do you guys think? Over, under 15 wins? They got 11. They got 27 games left. Is that right?
Okay.
So over 15 wins or under 15 wins? What do you think?
Well, you're the eternal optimist amongst us.
Oh, of course, over.
So you're going to say over?
Yeah.
And of course, I'm going to go with the under.
With the under. Okay, so here, all right, Steph, you may want to rethink this. Sacramento, Lakers, Utah, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Indiana. That's just the next set of games.
She won't change it.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right. Houston, maybe. All right.
We got this.
Golden State. Then another Houston, so that might be the second. Then Denver. Then Brooklyn, then Dallas, and Memphis, and Phoenix, and they're playing so many teams that are battling, and this last stretch is going to be tough because a lot of these teams they're playing are battling for that playoff position. Some are trying to get in, some are trying to get out of that play-in and be one of the top 6 in the West. This is going to be a brutal end of the season.
And David, one thing to watch out for is that remember Victor Wembanyama has to hit a certain amount of games. I believe it's 65 in order to be considered for the Rookie of the Year, which I think he's going to get as long as
get there.
hits that game mark. But what if once he gets that, the Spurs maybe kind of slow him down in preparation for the summer? Obviously don't want Wemby to get hurt. Second half of the season, this season basically.
In preparation for the summer or in preparation for a better draft
for
pick?
Everything. For everything.
I didn't say the word. I did not say that word. So, you know.
Real quick, both of you get the team an overall grade, please.
C minus.
Okay.
I'll go D+.
Okay.
Whoa!
Wow, man! I thought you were going to be.
I thought they were going to be I thought they were going to be a lot more competitive this year. They have not been able to do that.
I'm not going to give Justin a passing grade though, because he said they're going to shock the world. So Justin
Next season, they're going to shock the world. I'm on the record now.
Well, although you were right, they shocked the world and made you disappointed.
You were right.
So, you know.
You were right.
All right, here we go. So,
they'll be fine.
So you're over 15 and you're under 15?
Yeah. Yep.
So
it's
they just got to win 4 to get to 15.
I know.
Oh, now she's wavering.
Yeah.
Now she's thinking.
Go Spurs go.
Oh, man.
Go Spurs go.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Awesome. 9:42, 59 degrees. You're watching what resembles GMSA at night.
We'll be right back.
If you are ready to plan your next getaway, maybe a cruise is the trip for you.
Not for me. CNN's Jen Sullivan explains why now is a great time to book a cruise and score some big deals.
It's time to start cruising for a deal. Major cruise companies are offering big discounts right now. It's known as wave season.
Wave season is the time of year when the entire cruise industry goes on sale.
Wave season starts in January and runs through the beginning of March. You don't need to travel right now to score the deals. Travel expert Emily Kaufman says you can book a cruise all the way through 2025. You just need to book the trip now. So, what kind of deals are we seeing?
They've got added value offers with things like 2-for-1 sailing, cabin category upgrades, credits to be used on board.
From river cruises to luxury ships, anywhere around the world, this is the time to score discounts. Right now, Norwegian Cruise Lines is offering a 2-for-1 deal. That's on many of their cruises, even the European destinations. They're also offering a savings of $1,000 for free third or fourth guests on select dates. Royal Caribbean Cruises boasts up to $700 off, plus 60% off a second guest, and kids sail for free. MSC is offering 40% off and up to $400 onboard credit, but that deal only lasts until February 20th. Kaufman says cruises are a great way for families to save.
For one price, you get your accommodations, your meals, your activities on board.
If you are booking for a future trip, keep in mind that prices will be even cheaper if you book during an off-season time. And of course, you do have to factor in flights if you have to fly to the port city where the cruise departs from. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
I personally love cruises. I know they're not for everybody. You wouldn't even seriously consider it.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Justin, have you done a cruise yet?
Yeah. I like them already.
Yeah.
Except for the price of the drinks. That's where they get you. It's
right. You talking about the drink packages?
Yeah. Well,
just drink water.
Well, you could. That would be the smart thing to do. Yeah. Not exactly what you do on
not a vacation,
but probably the smart thing.
Yeah.
We're getting into that point in the year where we are going to have to start reminding people to stay hydrated as temperatures start to warm up. It is going to be in the upper 70s later this afternoon, and in the 80s, I think, by Thursday. Very quickly, though, we got to talk about the reservoir levels and where we stand. Honestly, these numbers have not changed very much. We've been in a drought for the better part of 2 years now, so these numbers have been very low and continue. Fell quite a bit. Now they kind of are holding steady, but Medina's at 3.2%. Not good. Amistad, 25%. Canyon Lake, 61%. And Choke Canyon, 24%. Canyon Lake's kind of the interesting one, honestly, because these are some of the lowest numbers we've seen when it comes to Canyon Lake. A month ago, it was at 59.6%, so we have seen some minor improvement just within the month. But a year ago, we were at 77.9%, just to give you some perspective. So it has fallen over a year's time. We do need some more rain. That's the bottom line. As we look at the Futurecast fog, there is going to be more fog tomorrow morning. Now, we saw some of that. It's gone away. And then we're going to fast forward now to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And there will be quite a bit more fog developing around San Antonio and really all of South Texas. Know that visibility will be low on your Wednesday morning. That goes away, and then on Thursday morning, we do it all again, although I don't think it's as widespread on Thursday. It will go away pretty quickly, too, because we'll get a front coming through with some drier air. Right now, we've got blue skies over the airport. Temperatures sitting at 56 degrees and rising, 54 in New Braunfels, 50 in Seguin, 61 in Bernie. It's kind of rare to see Bernie as one of the warm spots, but that's where we stand right now. And most of us will be in the 60s here soon. Satellite picture, we did have some low clouds trying to move up the Rio Grande and up towards Corpus Christi. This little deck of low clouds is already starting to kind of go away. Interesting formation here, but that's a result of some moisture trying to come back in. And we'll start to see more of that moisture next few days. There also was some fog. You can barely see it there. That has since dissipated as well. So our Futurecast shows we do have a storm system that comes out from the west coast, but it moves up and over Texas and doesn't do much for us. It will drag a weak front through. That's it. And that front does not bring us any rain. It just dries us out some. And honestly, it stays pretty warm going right on into the weekend. Certainly warm today. 77 here in San Antonio. We'll be up near 80 in Elmendorf, Forestville, Pearsall, and Creosote Springs. Almost for sure you're getting above 80 this afternoon, so it will be a warm day. Tomorrow, 76, 84 Thursday. That's our warmest day. And then we get a little bit of a cool down Friday, 75. But we warm right back up, mid-70s this weekend and close to 80 again on Monday with no rain. Really, even the extended forecast, maybe Tuesday of next week, but that's a big if, guys.
The other thing I was thinking about when we were talking about cruises was it's not going to be long before we start talking about the upcoming hurricane season as well.
True. Yeah, it's just right around the corner. May 1st is not May 1st. June 1st is when we start talking about that. And usually things start to pick up in July. So, yeah.
We'll watch out for that as well.
That's right.
Thank you, Justin.
Time now 9:52, 59 degrees.
Yay, let's look at the flamingos, I'm told, here with Zoo Cam. There they are in the water, just relaxing with the 59 degrees. They must know it's going to get warmer later this afternoon.
Sure. They have also booked a cruise, by the way.
Not me. Go ahead, flamingos, have fun.
Hey, so during the Super Bowl, DoorDash had an ad with a really long sweepstakes code. It was a real contest, and the winner of that contest happens to be from right here in San Antonio.
That's right. Last Friday, DoorDash announced that Jonathan H. from San Antonio was the winner of DoorDash All the Ads contest. So out of the millions of people who participated in the sweepstakes, Jonathan was the only one who got the super long code correct. He won several prizes, including a 2024 Toyota Tacoma, a Google Pixel 8 phone, and a Kawasaki off-roading vehicle. Wow, and those are just some of his prizes, we're told. Wow.
He's from here, Jonathan H. Well, if you're watching, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations,
yeah,
man.
It pays off to pay attention and to try to win, right? Good job.